Welcome to the kitchen. Today we're going to be making some baked chicken. Fairly simple recipe, but with the side I'm going to be making some stuffed jalapenos or jalapeno poppers. Now I've whipped up a jar of Screamin Santos chicken marinade. And this is my first time making this, so it'll be my first time trying this. Now when I put this on the chicken, we're going to start by tossing them in a bowl and putting this marinade on them. See what it looks like. Alright, so we got our bowl with the chicken breast in it, and this time I remember to defrost them. They've actually been defrosting for the limit, as they say, 2 days in the refrigerator. You don't want to leave them in the refrigerator for any more time than that. So we got to cook these things before they go bad. But here we are. I'm going to stir up this marinade a little bit, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to pour it onto the chicken and kind of toss the chicken around in it. So here we go. Let's see what this stuff looks like. Okay, and at first glance, it's not looking too bad. Not too bad at all. Alright, so we're going to get this marinade all over this chicken. I'm going to reach in here and just kind of make sure I rub it around. It's not a good idea to wear a watch while you're doing this because the raw chicken can get up on your watch if you stick your hand in there too far. So I'd recommend not wearing a watch while you're doing this. But you can put this chicken in a bag with the marinade and let it sit for some time. I usually do that when I'm getting ready to grill it. But there it is. I've rubbed this marinade all over this chicken. And you can see it's coating pretty well. It's sticking pretty good. Actually sticks to my hands pretty good, so that's what we want. Now, while that chicken is marinating, I'm going to go ahead and preheat the oven to 425 degrees. While that oven is preheating, I'm going to go ahead and start stuffing some jalapenos. We're going to be making 6 jalapeno poppers. I'm going to be stuffing them with some of this pizza blend cheese. And should I run out of that, hopefully I'll be able to dig some more cheese out of the refrigerator. And I'm going to be using some Black Label original thick cut bacon to wrap around these poppers. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the tops off of these peppers. And then I'm going to make sure I kind of get the knife down inside there because there's going to be some core in there that I need to get out to make room for the cheese, or else I at least need to break it up if I can't get it out. So it can kind of be some filler if you want it to. Otherwise, you got to get it out. Now remember, after you do something like this, don't go in there putting your contacts in, because that pepper juice will get down in there into your pores, and it'll burn when you go to touch your eyes, that's for sure. Now, one thing you can do is I don't like to let any of the pepper go to waste. So there's going to be a little bit of green next to each stem here that you can kind of chunk up if you'd like. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that as filler. I'm going to stick that in the pepper as I'm stuffing them.
Like you did with the stuffed like peppers.
That's exactly right.
Bell peppers.
Just like with the stuffed bell peppers. Only they're a little bit smaller.
And spicy.
Not always. The one thing about jalapenos that I've noticed, and that I'm sure most people have noticed, is they vary drastically in the heat. Sometimes you'll get jalapenos that are a real kick. I mean, you taste them and they burn. They stick with you for a little bit. But other times, you'll get jalapenos that don't really taste any much different than a regular green pepper. They got good flavor, but they really don't have any heat to them. So that's the one thing to consider too when making sauces with jalapenos. I'm going to start stuffing the jalapenos. Get a little bit of cheese down in there. And of course I'm going to get cheese all over the place while I'm doing it.
Oh, those look so good. I'm gonna have to have one of those, even though I don't really like spicy stuff.
I think you might. I think you might. And I'm going to put a couple of these little chunks up here in the top because this cheese is going to heat up. It's going to boil out over the top. So these chunks will kind of help as a cap. Okay, so now we're going to wrap these in bacon. Got to make sure the bacon's still good. Okay, I wouldn't recommend just smelling it, but that's what I'm going to do. Okay, now for poppers, there's a couple ways you can take the bacon. The most traditional way is to take it around the popper. I like to take it lengthwise around the popper like this. And then if there's enough, once I get it up over at one time, because we can get this, we can kind of use this as a cap also to help hold the cheese inside. And once we get it around one time, we can kind of take it around this way, bring it around. You're going to want to stretch the bacon a little bit, bring it around, and tuck it in there. And there we got one popper right there like that. It's also a good idea, you can use a toothpick to hold the bacon in place. Now we're going to go ahead and put the chicken into the oven. And I got to say, it's looking pretty good with that chicken marinade that's on it. As the chicken's baking, I'm also going to throw the jalapeno poppers in. So we're cooking these at 425 degrees. They're going to be done long before the chicken is, but that's okay because I want them as an appetizer. Look at this chicken. I'm going to take it out and flip it after about 20 minutes of being in there because I can kind of gauge it. I can kind of see how it's cooking, see if I need to adjust the temperature, and it looks like it's cooking just fine. So go ahead and flip them over here. And at this point, I'm going to put them in for another 30 minutes and then maybe take their temperature, see where they're at. Meanwhile, the poppers are still cooking. The poppers have been in about 30 minutes. And the big variable with them is the bacon. Sometimes bacon cooks quick, but this Black Label bacon seems to take forever. So I'm taking this out. And at this point, if they're not looking like they're completely done, which they're not, because I want the bacon a little more crispy, I think, I'm going to turn them a little bit, trying not to lose the cheese from inside. Some of them stayed tucked pretty good, like that one, but others, the bacon shrunk, and they just kind of came undone a little bit. That one stayed pretty well tight, too. So the tuck worked for some of them, not for all of them. I'm going to put them back in, and there's no time limit with these. I'm just going to keep them going until that bacon is crisp. Not too crisp, but a little more so than it is right now, because right now it looks almost raw.